That's great now. Just remember, Roger Penske has to still...
Hi, we're here at Goodwood Festival of Speed once again, and we're here with Bernie King, who is General Manager of Penske Restoration. And we have a couple of examples of my dad's cars. This one being the first Indy car my dad drove at Indy to win the Rookie of the Year. This was quite a big project for you. One of your favorites, you said before.
Yeah, it was. It took a number of years to find the parts and restore. We originally just found the chassis itself from an owner in Tennessee. Eventually persuaded him to release the car to us, and we started the rebuild, which, as I said, took around seven years.
Wow. Wow. And you were mentioning, I mean, did you have to do a lot of fabrication work for doing the turbo on the side and all that?
And that's one of the ways we found the car. There were two cars at Indianapolis in '69. Bobby Unser drove one, and Mark Donohue. And when we looked at the chassis, the holes were there for the turbo. The bracket was missing for the turbo mount, and the actual rear parallel bars were missing these brackets.
Oh, geez.
The story with the car was that after Roger had the car, it was sold off and raced a couple of times, and someone tried to qualify it in Ontario, and then it was sold off to a Bonneville salt flat streamliner guy.
Oh, geez.
And he took it apart, and his plan was to just use the chassis. So everything was taken off the car, and he had left the chassis, but he died, and his estate eventually sold everything off separately. The tub and boxes of pieces just scattered.
Oh boy.
So
this was your project.
Yeah.
Wow. So what I find striking also is the turbo being on the side was unique, you said, because they were doing aero work a little bit?
Well, at the time, Mark being the engineer, they had figured that putting the turbo down low would help the center of gravity, plus turning left, putting the weight down low, which everybody else was running the turbo in the back. So this allowed them to get more air over the car and to experiment with different size rear wings as well. And if you look, and they had started to experiment with the little fins on the side of the nose as well, to keep the nose down.
That's pretty cool. And then the other really striking thing is we have the '72 Indy winner behind us here. And if you just look at the difference between the cars, it's really striking what happened in just a matter of 4 years, or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, with the size of the rear wing, everybody was starting to learn that wings were the answer for the downforce.
Yeah, that is and there was no regulation on this at the time?
No.
So they can run just about anything?
Yeah.
Are they both similar engines though? That's a Ford, right?
Yeah, that's an Offenhauser, and so is this.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. One safety aspect of it was they went from 70 gallons of methanol back down to, because of the accidents, down to 40 gallons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a huge difference in...
That's a tanker.
Yeah, that's a fuel tank with an engine strapped to it.
Yeah, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
How much power did they make?
They ran around 600 horsepower, with the Offie,
So, yeah, it's decent amount of power.
Yeah. With a Hewland transmission. This was the LG transmission. This was a four-wheel drive vehicle, and also ran a Hewland engine.
But it wasn't always four-wheel drive, right? They had to do a conversion for it?
They had two cars.
Okay.
They had two four-wheel drive cars, one with a stock block Chevy, which they turned back into a two-wheel drive to run at road courses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This stayed the same, pretty
cool.
much. But they only ran it at Indy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have PC1.
PC1, the first Formula One car for Penske cars in the UK, manufactured in Poole in Dorset. There were 3 chassis built. This is the third of the 3. and it was run Monaco and the Dutch Grand Prix.
Okay.
And John Watson drove it at the last race in '75 at Watkins Glen.
Oh, okay.
Finished 9th.
Okay.
Your Mark Donohue best finish with 8th in
Okay.
it at the Dutch Grand Prix.
Okay. And how many of these still exist?
This is the only one we know of.
You know what?
That, yeah. And in fact, you drove this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Yeah.
I'm the only driver. I'm the only person who's ever driven for Roger in a Formula One car at Indy.
Okay.
But it happens to be this car.
Yeah.
What else?
This has never been out of the hands of Roger. Roger kept this, whereas these two, he had sold
Left and
off.
came back.
Yeah.
And did you have to do a lot of restoration of this, or it was always kind of
Yes.
kept?
Pretty much the rear end we had to do. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We had all the body work, and the front suspension was still on the chassis when we got it. But the rear end we remanufactured.
And how common are the engines now, the Ford car?
Very
Yeah.
difficult to find.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah. Paul Morgan, who had originally founded Ilmore, helped us get this engine. It's one of the original old blocks.
Because
Yeah,
I remember
DFB.
it just sounds great.
Yeah,
It's
DFB
just
engine.
high revving.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Taking
Yeah,
the time.
Yeah.